Alrighty, thanks for joining us here this afternoon, and we're going to be talking about the severe weather and tornado outbreak that is starting to unfold here across portions of the Midwest into the Mississippi Valley. Here, we're going to hold off on getting too in depth here until 3 or just a little after. So we're going to give it another minute or two for this to show up, or for people to show up here, and to make sure everybody's here before we really dive into it. What you're looking at here is current radar as well as current watches and warnings, as well as well, I guess that's all right now. We don't have the MDs up just yet here. So like I said, we're going to wait another minute or so to see if we have anybody else that's going to join in with the forecast and watch. And we'll get started here in just a minute or so, 1 or 2 after the hour here, just letting everybody roll in. If you are watching this, please feel free to copy the link and share that on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever you might be having social media platforms at. Make sure to share it there so folks can get in here and see what we're talking about here as far as the severe weather is concerned here for the afternoon into the evening. Again, what you're looking at right now are the current watches, warnings, and the current animated radar, and you can see there's already been quite a few warnings here. And like I said, into the next couple of minutes here, as we start to get more people rolling in, give people the time to kind of settle in and share this on social media platforms, we'll kind of dive into what the current watches, warnings, that kind of thing, and what we're seeing here as we work on into the rest of the afternoon into the evening. So all right, so let's go ahead and get started on this. For those that join us a little bit later, they can, of course, rewind this and go back. So we're going to start off here. I'm going to pause this animation so we can take a look at things here. So I'm going to start off looking at the current watches. Those areas in pink, those pink watches here, those are the PDS tornado watches that are in effect until 8 p.m. Central Daylight Time tonight. PDS is a particularly dangerous situation. These are PDS tornado watches, meaning that the Storm Prediction Center, who issues these watches, are expecting the possibility of numerous tornadoes, or in this case, potentially both, strong to violent tornadoes, which is the case today, as this is a very dynamic system. And so the Storm Prediction Center has already talked about the possibility from Iowa into Illinois, eastern Missouri down into Arkansas, for the possibility of strong violent tornadoes, meaning EF2, EF3 plus rating type tornadoes here with this environment. So that's where we have the PDS tornado watches into these areas in purple, or excuse me, in pink, stretching down even in the southwestern portions of Wisconsin, all the way down Illinois, Missouri, western Kentucky, western Tennessee, northwestern Mississippi, Arkansas. And then if we go down into northwestern portions of Louisiana, southeastern Oklahoma, and down into northeastern Texas, that's where they have a tornado watch that is in effect until 9 p.m. Central Daylight Time. That is not, I reiterate, not a PDS watch. Those areas in the pink are. You can see severe thunderstorm warnings are issued right now across Iowa, out into Illinois, back down into Missouri. So all of these warnings as of 3:03 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, they are severe thunderstorm warnings. I'm going to take these warnings off really quickly here if I can, and show you. But you can see a lot of these more supercellular structures, especially out across Missouri, back out into Iowa. We've got kind of this cluster of storms, some additional storms forming back out into portions of southern Illinois as well. So we'll go back over and put these warnings back up, and we'll scroll to the south. And there we are. And you can see down to the south across Arkansas, that's where we actually have current tornado warnings that are in place. And we'll zoom into here, and you can see there's actually a tornado warning actually just issued for Little Rock. So if you're in Little Rock, Arkansas, a tornado warning has been issued. The red polygon telling me this is probably radar indicated. Yeah, radar indicated rotation, as you can see here, source. So this is a tornado warning for this cell now moving towards Little Rock. It looks like the motion of this cell is moving on off to the northeast at 50 miles per hour. Hazards include a not only tornado, but ping pong ball size hail. So some large hail associated with that. And you can actually see right here down towards the Owensville area, even on composite radar, you can actually see a pretty nice hook down there. Let's switch on over real quick. I didn't want to get too much into the warnings just yet, but since this is for Little Rock, we're going to. So I know some of you guys are Midwest viewers, and you're waiting for me to talk about this afternoon into the Midwest. But since this is a major metropolitan area, I just want to cover this real quick. So here is that tornado warning down for the Little Rock area on single site radar. And if we take a look here, let's just take a look at the rotation within this storm here, if we can animate this for a second. And let's see here. Give me just a second for this to load up and animate. And you can definitely see there's some rotation coming down through Owensville. If I kind of pause this and go forward, it's right into this area here, continuing off to the northeast. Right now, if this were to continue, it would track right up towards the Little Rock, maybe the northwest side of Little Rock with this storm. Again, this is only radar indicated rotation. Let me see something here. Give me just a second here. I want to go to a dual panel window and take a look at something here, because this might be a little bit more of a concern. Let's see here. Okay, those are offset, so that's good. All right, so anyways, that is a radar indicated tornado right in rotation that could be a tornado. We don't have confirmation either via radar or via spotters with that. But if you're in the Little Rock area, you need to go ahead and take your tornado safety precautions right now and be getting to the lowest level of your home, down into a basement, into a tornado safe shelter if you have one. If not, lowest floor of your home, interior closet, under a stairwell, away from windows and doors. And then we pan to the south here. So we'll keep going. And you can see that we've got severe thunderstorm warnings with these thunderstorms that are in southeastern portions of Oklahoma back out into northeastern portions of Texas. They're out east of Dallas. There is a pretty impressive thunderstorm not warned yet, moving up into the Texarkana area. So you can see we've kind of just got this line of thunderstorms back out through here, and we've got a few different thunderstorms, one back here out here closer to the low and the dry line with some thunderstorms there. Now, with these thunderstorms back out into the Midwest, back out Iowa, Missouri, back out into Illinois, there's a new tornado warning just now popped up into the Princeton area in northern portions of Missouri. But I think as we work into the next couple of hours, we're going to see tornado warnings become more common to the north. A couple of reasons: you're going to see some stronger winds at 850 millibars, about 5,000 feet above the surface. So those will increase here as we work into the rest of the afternoon into the evening, which is going to add additional speed shear. But the other thing to look at here, and I want to take the watches off, at least the fill, real quickly and pull up the meso analysis. The other thing to look at, and this is not going to be real pleasing to the eye here. Actually, let's switch over. Give me just a second, because I don't like the look of this. It's kind of hard to look at. So let's take a look and go to the Storm Prediction Center here. This is the current dew point. And what I want you to notice here with the dew points is the fact that we're just seeing these these 60-degree dew points to 64-degree dew points just starting to nose into Missouri and southern portions of Iowa. Notice down here where we have the tornado warnings, we have much higher dew points, 60, up towards like 66, 68 degrees. And so I think as these dew points continue to lift northward into the next several hours, advecting into Missouri, Illinois, into eastern Iowa, as we start to see more moisture into those areas, tornado potential will start to increase. In fact, if we go on over, I'm going to go back over to here and pull up the mesoscale discussions. Wow, so many mesoscale discussions, some new ones as well. But a lot of these red circles you see out here, those are mesoscale discussions from the Storm Prediction Center, just saying, okay, this is what we're seeing in the short term here. A lot of these up into, not all of them, but a lot of them up into Missouri, Illinois, Iowa, those areas are basically what we just discussed. The Storm Prediction Center saying, okay, over the next several hours, tornado potential up to the north is going to increase as dew points increase. So I think that's the one thing we're lacking right now, but I don't think here that it's going to be too long before we do start to see, potential for tornadoes increasing across Illinois, back out across Iowa. Obviously, like I said, already seeing one tornado warning now popping into northern Missouri. Let's check this out. Okay, so a new watch. It looks like it's going to be a new tornado watch. Likely here for northern and northeastern portions of Illinois. I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit in this red circled area. So this is going to be pretty close to Milwaukee and Madison, but it's going to encompass places like Rockford, Chicago, Watseka, Bloomington, maybe Champaign, and then back up into the north. So if you're in northern and eastern or northeastern Illinois, southern Wisconsin, this is going to be a new tornado watch that is expected to be issued here. Likely within the next 90 minutes. So the next hour, hour and a half, there's going to be a tornado watch that's going to be in place or issued across northeastern portions of Illinois, southern Wisconsin, and perhaps even northwestern portions of Indiana. And it's thanks to this cluster of thunderstorms back out here as it tracks on off to the northeast. So if you're out into northern Illinois, just be aware that you're probably going to see a new tornado watch here within the next hour to hour and a half. Right now, looking through the discussion here, it looks like HRRR model guidance shows multiple supercells into portions of northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin, eventually northwest Indiana. Storm mode and favorable environment suggests a risk for all hazards. A strong long-track tornado will also be possible with the more dominant supercells. A new tornado watch may be needed shortly with, like I said, 95% probability that tornado watch is going to be issued. Now, with that being said, it does not designate that this will be a PDS watch. It may or it may not, but as of right now, it's just saying that possibility for a tornado watch is there. So if you're out into northwestern Indiana, northeastern Illinois, southern Wisconsin, like I said, just be expecting that here into the next hour, hour and a half. Get your plans in place here, for the possibility that as we get into the evening, it's going to be a pretty bumpy ride. And you can see, there's a lot of places down here that are, I'm going to take these MCDs off, and you can see, a lot of places already seeing that, still seeing a tornado warning down into Little Rock as well. Again, this is just radar indicated rotation. From the last information I saw, this is not confirmed on the ground at this point. Anyways, so let's go back over here, and I want to cover a couple things. So the first thing we're going to look at here is the day one categorical outlook. I'm sure a lot of the viewers watching here have seen this posted a lot of times here, but we're going to talk about it anyways. So this is the Storm Prediction Center day one categorical severe weather outlook, and you can see there is a high risk in place. Two places. This is the first time we've seen two high risks in place. Now, we did see this occur once before, but they end up being merged. Anyways, that's irrelevant. So you can see high risk up here. I keep pointing to the screen like you can see that, but this high risk up here into eastern Iowa, western Illinois, far northeastern portions of Missouri, and then there's also a high risk into eastern Arkansas, back out into southwest portions of Tennessee and northwest portions of Mississippi. Those high risks were issued because of the tornado potential. So if we take a look at the tornado potential, you can see where there's 30% risks of tornadoes, which is significant. That is an absolutely impressive tornado risk. You only see that when the Storm Prediction Center is forecasting, significant long track, potentially strong, violent tornadoes, which is the case today. And you can see those black hatched areas, that whole area out through here, western Indiana, won't cover all the states there. That's where there is the possibility for significant tornadoes. So we look at that. We take a look as far as wind concerns. Now, for those, I'm going to switch back to this real quick. There's a moderate risk that extends back across Indiana. That moderate risk is not solely for tornadoes. That moderate risk into Indiana, and I'm going to cover this, you can see is 45% risk for damaging winds. That is for damaging winds here tonight, this evening into tonight. That's the concern there. So 45% damaging winds. That's not to say there won't be the possibility for tornadoes, because there will be, but the moderate is there to represent the damaging wind risk. We take a look at the hail forecast. You can see 30% areas of hail, and then you can see the hatched area, which represents significant large hail. So that's kind of what we're looking at with the day one categorical risks and probabilities here for today on into tonight. And there will be a new outlook issued, I'm thinking here soon maybe. I can't remember if it's 3:30 or 4 o'clock. Anyways, that's kind of what we're looking at. Those two high-risk areas in place, one across the Midwest, one down into the Mississippi Valley. We're going to go back briefly and pan out here and check what's going on. So overall, there's not a whole lot of new activity going on. You can see quite a bit of new severe thunderstorm warnings back out into Iowa, where these cells are really starting to become supercellular in nature. Now, one thing that I talked about and have been talking about for a day or two is the concern that if these cells were to be discrete, if they were going to be more individual as opposed to align, the tornado threat with this system would be far more impactful than if they were a big squall line or quickly congealed into a QLCS derecho squall line type event. In this case, that is what is occurring. We are seeing a lot of individual supercells out here developing, especially initially. Now, at some point this evening, these may be forced into more of a line. But nonetheless, right now, you're seeing these supercells across the area. So let's go on over and take a look at some of the forecast data here as we work on into the afternoon, in rest of the afternoon into the evening. So we're going to start off with the Midwest region, and then we'll briefly go down into the Mississippi Valley region. And as we start to work on into, this is by 5, 6 o'clock, you can see this cluster of thunderstorms this evening starting to push on into northern Illinois, 6, 7 o'clock into northern Illinois. So you're starting to see the tornado threat this evening potentially going up, severe weather threat overall going up into northern portions of Illinois. But notice as you work south of there and get out across, central Illinois, back out into western Illinois, in Missouri, how we are seeing these individual cells. Notice the line out across Iowa trying to become more of a forced squall line with likely embedded supercells. But the concern then becomes, with these individual supercells out ahead of this line, that your tornado potential is still there as we work into the evening towards 6, 7, 8 o'clock. And, there's a chance out here into Indiana this evening towards like 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock that maybe you see a strong to severe thunderstorm. For places out into Indiana, you're probably going to start to see your severe risk really increasing towards 8 to 9 o'clock and going on into like midnight to 1 a.m. and then into western portions of Ohio as we work, late, probably I would tend to say after like 10 to 11 o'clock through maybe, 2 to 3 a.m. But you can see through the rest of the afternoon on into the late evening here, probably on through 9 to 10 o'clock, you're going to continue to see severe weather risks out across Illinois and back into southern Wisconsin and back out across Iowa until this system works on through here. I'm going to see here. I might have gotten... Let me see. Okay, I was just checking a couple things here. So let's go on over and we'll talk about, we'll switch regions here and we'll take a look down into the Mississippi Valley region where you can kind of see both regions here. But as we continue to work on into the afternoon and evening, going into like 4, 5, 6, 7 o'clock, you can continue to see these cells down here across Arkansas, spanning back up into eastern, southeastern Missouri, southern Illinois, even out to the St. Louis area, back down into western Tennessee, western Kentucky, eventually towards like 7 and 8 p.m., spreading on into northwestern portions of Mississippi as well. And again, the HRRR is suggesting that, a lot of these storms, if you look at them, they are discrete thunderstorms and they tend to rotate and they are, they show that potential of producing, large hail, damaging winds, tornadoes, some significant tornadoes. That's going to continue through the evening. Now, as we start to work on into, 10, 11 o'clock here and start to push towards midnight, you can see midnight, there's this line of storms working across Kentucky, Tennessee, back down across portions of Mississippi still, and then moving on off to the east. So overall, it's going to be, especially for these areas back out here that are seeing thunderstorms now, that are seeing warnings now, it's going to be kind of a long haul here this afternoon into tonight because you could see 1 or 2 rounds of severe weather, especially up into Illinois, eastern Iowa. So just kind of be prepared for that. This could be, sometimes you get these lines of thunderstorms that move through and it's like you have about a 30 to 60 minute span of, okay, we're under a severe thunderstorm warning and it's here and it's gone. That's, for a lot of places that are under this higher risk, out here into especially, the moderate high risk areas into Illinois, Missouri, Arkansas, Mississippi, Iowa, That's just not the case because you're going to continue to see severe weather potential on through the rest of the afternoon on into this evening and tonight as well. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now. We take a look here. I'm going to go back and take a look at the overall kind of what we're seeing, see if we have any new MDs. We don't. So really there hasn't been a lot of change in the warnings. You can continue, I mean, if we animate this again, you can continue to see that there's additional warnings being issued with these thunderstorms as they continue to move on across the area. We haven't seen a whole lot in the way of additional tornado warnings. But I would tend to say as we start to work into the next several hours, especially up into the Midwest, you know, we're going to start to see more tornado warnings popping as the winds increase and you start to see the dew points increase with time here this afternoon into this evening. Excuse me, guys, trying to get a drink of water here. So I don't know. I'm trying to look at the live chat here to see if we have any questions. I may have to try to pull it up on YouTube itself here and see if I can get any kind of. Sometimes I need to do that to see the question. So give me a second here, and I'll pull that up just to make sure that I'm not seeing any questions here. Just a second. All right, it looks like, yeah, as of right now, I don't see any kind of questions popping up. If anybody has any questions, I'll try to answer them to the best of my capability here. I don't know, I'm trying to look at the live. I know a lot of people like those, okay, what's my area looking like? For some of you, especially if you live outside of the Midwest region, you know, it's hard for me to be specific and look at exact cities because sometimes I don't know the smaller cities outside of, you know, the Midwest region. But if you can kind of give me an idea regionally where you're at, I can kind of give you a better idea of what to expect. So if anybody has any questions as far as what we're looking at here in your area as we work through the afternoon into the evening, I would be happy to answer those questions or any other questions you might have. I know a lot of people I'll kind of give some people some time to maybe ask questions. If not, that's fine as well. For some of you, especially. So we'll kind of continue to keep it here, and we'll pan back out a little bit more so you can continue to see where those watches and warnings are being issued right now. Again, there's not a whole lot of change in this. We can go through and we can analyze look at some of the current thunderstorms that are ongoing. You can see a pretty impressive thunderstorm back out here towards Savannah and Canton, working out towards Peoria. So there is a severe thunderstorm warning for Peoria, Illinois. You can see more thunderstorms with severe thunderstorm warnings back out into eastern Iowa, far western Illinois, eventually working up towards the Davenport area. It looks like the southern portions of Davenport, Iowa are under a severe thunderstorm warning. You can see multiple cells back out here all the way from Princeton into northern portions of Missouri back up into Des Moines, and those areas are seeing several severe thunderstorm warnings. And then if we pan to the south here, you can see more thunderstorms. Now these thunderstorms down here across Missouri are looking rather impressive. In fact, I'm going to go on over and pull these up on single site radar. Let me switch on over so I can get into a single panel. That is not what I want. There we go. And so we'll take a look. Here's this tornado now moving just northwest of Little Rock here into the northwestern suburbs of Little Rock. We can zoom in. Kamak Village is that's going to be right in the path of this. And this is actually on the path going right here's the radar. This path, let me see if I can pull up. Yeah, this path is going to go right up by the radar here as we work into the next like 10 to 15 minutes. So this storm's heading right towards KLZK up into the northern portions of Little Rock there. So this storm, the hook echo is headed right up towards that area. So that'll be interesting to see. So anyways, I'm going to go back out and go back to central portions of Missouri here. We'll go out to the radar there. And you can see there's multiple nice little supercells forming, Warsaw, Boonville, back up towards the Marshall area. These are not warned yet. And then there's that big thunderstorm back up towards Princeton and Unionville in far northern Missouri, getting ready to cross the Missouri-Iowa state line there towards Corydon and Centerville. But you can see, I mean, these storms right through here, and you can kind of see some of the hooks trying to show up on those. Trying to see if there's a little closer radar. It doesn't look like there's really going to be much, but you can see a few little kind of. Oh, there's a new tornado warning on that cell right up there towards the Tina area, back out towards Minden, Rossville, Summer, up towards Brookfield, Buckland. You guys under a tornado warning now. This is radar indicated rotation, it looks like, and it is indeed radar indicated rotation. Nonetheless, if you're in this area, make sure to be taking shelter, as that is a new tornado warning for those locations. So, continuing to watch. All right, any insight to central Iowa? So, right now, central Iowa, so there's kind of some good news and there's obviously some bad news here. So, central Iowa, you're seeing thunderstorms right now. So I'm not sure exactly where you're at in central Iowa, but you can see these thunderstorms from Des Moines all the way back down to the south here. Let me pull something up here. I'd like to have these if I can find them right here. I guess I really can't. But anyway, here we go. So right now you're seeing these thunderstorms right up along I-69, 65 area from Des Moines points to the south and just off to the east, moving off to the northeast. So you are seeing right now quite a few severe thunderstorm warnings, some of these being more impactful here. I'm going to take these road signs back off, but I just want to see some of the roads out there. If we go back over and give me just a second and I'll switch over, and if we take a look at Iowa here into the next several hours, so you're going to continue to deal with these thunderstorms as we work on into like 3-4 o'clock local time here across central portions of Iowa. And you can see the HRRR really showing some very impressive supercells out across central Iowa as we work on into like 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time. The good news is for central Iowa, and kind of the only good news is, once these cells move out of the area towards 5 and 6 p.m., it's not like you're going to see multiple rounds like potentially Wisconsin, Illinois could see. Once these cells that are in place now, while they're lasting a while up here, while you still got a few hours of that, they're moving off to the east, and as we work in the 5 to 6 p.m., your severe weather threat should be pretty much over with. So you're not going to see multiple rounds into central Iowa. You're just going to see this round. Now, with that being said, it's as you work into the next couple of hours, these thunderstorms are likely to continue to intensify here. And if you're kind of east of this current location, north and east of these current locations here, from Iowa Falls down towards Ames, Des Moines, back down to the south, towards Corydon, those same areas, and off to the east, you're going to continue to see these thunderstorms moving across the area and continuing to strengthen here, especially as those dew points increase. So I hope that kind of answered your question there for any insight into central Iowa. No problem. You're very welcome. So panning back out, this is our current, again, we have a confirmed tornado in the Little Rock area, so I'm going to pan back over to here, and we'll go down and take a look. Give me just a second to get my radar down there. We'll take a look at the tornado down here, the tornado storm. So this is moving out into the Kamak Village area. Let's take a look. Tornado launch, a tornado warning for central Saline County it's canceled. Let's see. Launch. Let me scroll through this. Tornado warning remains in effect for south central Faulkner and central Pulaski counties. Confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado was located over West Little Rock, moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. This is a particularly dangerous situation. Take cover now. This is a radar confirmed tornado. So that must mean we've got some kind of a correlation coefficient with this. Let me swing on over to a different radar product here and take a look at this. And bear with me here. I'm going to pull this on over. We're going to use radar scope for this because I tend to like their correlation coefficient a little bit better, and it's a little bit easier to see here. So let's zoom into Little Rock and let's take a look here at so there's the velocity. Oh yeah, so you can see there's the velocity couplet right there, just southwest of Kamak Village. So this is moving up towards the Kamak Village area. It's going to be real close to the radar as it moves off to the northeast. And if we take a look at the correlation, yep, there's so right here. So this is what we call correlation coefficient or CC dropout. And so what happens is when a tornado is moving across an area and it's on the ground, I'm going to animate this. What will happen? Well, yeah, so it's just out of this area, so it's right here. And what will happen is as it lofts debris up into the air, the radar picks up on that and recognizes that's debris. It's not raindrops, it's not hailstones, not snowflakes or graupel or anything like that. And it shows us that, okay, it's going to be kind of tough now because it's moving into closer to the radar, so it's going to have some beam interference here, but it's giving us an idea that, okay, there is some debris being lofted here into that area. So if you're up, you can see pretty nice couplet right now moving through the Kamak Village area, and we'll be moving off to the northeast, and I would say you can see unfortunately some higher returns coming out of the Kamak Village area, so that's probably an indication that there is a tornado on the ground right now, just on kind of the northwestern suburbs of Little Rock, moving on off to the northeast. And if we go on over, I'm going to go back to this right now and switch over to this. And so, like I said, if you're in this warning, if you're in Little Rock, especially the north side of Little Rock, or the suburbs of the north side of Little Rock, you need to be in your shelter right now. Yeah, there's definitely a strong echo there. There's a strong couplet. The CC dropouts there. It's definitely suggesting that there is a tornado on the ground moving through the west and northwestern suburbs of Little Rock at this point. Just on kind of the northwestern suburbs of Little Rock, moving on off. So, there is, okay, so we have, this is going to be a tornado emergency, guys. So this is a confirmed large and destructive tornado. This is a tornado emergency for Metro Little Rock. So this is a tornado emergency again for western Little Rock here. And unfortunately, I wish they had one of the smaller radar stations, but it's for this area. So you're going to include North Little Rock, portions of Little Rock, back up into Sullivan Hills, Jackson, Austin, Butlerville, Hickory Plains, Ward. Those areas where this storm is moving off to the northeast, that's where that tornado emergency is in place here. So this is something we've been watching for some time now, ever since that warning was issued, even when it was just a radar-confirmed rotation with this storm. So like I said, there is a tornado emergency now in place for let's see. Let me pull the counties up here. Faulkner, Lenoke, Prairie, Pulaski, and White counties are under a tornado emergency down here into central portions of Arkansas. And that is Butlerville, Hickory Plains. That is a tornado emergency down there. Give me just a second here. And I want to let me pull something up here. I just want to pull up some social media here and see if we got any kind of reports coming out of there. Out of with this storm or anything like that. So like I said, there is a tornado emergency. Let me switch accounts. So this is kind of what we're seeing currently down there. This is that tornado emergency that is still in place. Oh, let's see here. Scrolling through. Okay, there's definitely a large tornado moving through. I'm going to pull this over so you can see it. This is via James Spann's account. So he's a meteorologist here. He's a meteorologist down into Alabama, I should say, not here. And if I can get this to load, so you can kind of see, it's a little hard to see, it's kind of rain wrapped, but there's a tornado right through here. This is out of Little Rock, I would suppose, a sky camera out of Little Rock, and you can see that tornado there. So there's definitely a tornado on the ground here into Little Rock there. So that is again, that was tweeted from James Spann account, who is a meteorologist down in Alabama, who tweets a lot about severe weather. So let's head back over. We'll scan out here and take a look at the rest. So now we have a new tornado warning up into Illinois for this storm that is headed towards Peoria. So we're gonna move away from Little Rock here, and I'm not gonna spend lots and lots of time here covering every tornado warning, but let's go on over and take a look at this storm in Illinois, and I'm gonna switch back over to the. Oh, this is pretty impressive as it moves through Little Rock. Look at this nice little, looks like a debris ball there. Anyways, let's go back up to Illinois, and we'll take a look at this storm moving through central Illinois. And there's a very nice hook there. So you've got a few features here within this storm. Very well defined hook now moving north of Liverpool, back out, and it is again moving up towards the Peoria area. You can see very impressive core with this storm. Likely some large hail with this storm into central portions of Illinois, north central portions of Illinois here. If we go on over and take a look at the current storm velocity, I'm going to animate this so we can kind of get a little bit better of a feeling with this, but you can see there's definitely some rotation within the storm here. It's not all that tight or impressive, but definitely some rotation there. If we take a look at the correlation coefficient, I wouldn't, we'll see. That's a little bit, it's not quite tight enough. It looks to me like maybe it's not showing up on the ground just yet. Let's go over. Nonetheless, if you're in this area, out here that has this tornado warning, St. David, Bryant, back into Banner, Glassford, eventually out towards Perkin here and Hannah City, you guys should be sheltered right now. And then if you're in the Peoria or around the Peoria, Illinois area, you guys should be, thinking about it here as this continues to track off to the northeast. And you can see multiple other cells right behind it here out into, back out to the west, north of Macomb, back off to the northeast of Hamilton, and then more cells out to the west. So, overall, pretty significant severe weather outbreak starting to unfold. This is just the start of it here, and it's going to continue to evolve here as we work into the rest of the afternoon, into tonight, and should wind down late tonight, late this evening into the overnight. So that's kind of what we're looking at now, guys. I'm not going to don't want to get too much into this here. We could stay and cover all these different cells. You can see continuing to see some impressive cells, starting to see some hooks, especially with the storm down towards Fayette, down into portions of Missouri, and I'm sure these will probably start to develop some more hooks as they move into a little bit more better environment with some echoes there. And so it's gonna be a long afternoon and evening today with this outbreak. So it looks like it's probably going to be a pretty active even into the next week. There's another risk of severe weather as we head on into next week. So we'll see how that pans out. Oh, just a second. New tornado watch just issued now. Let me pull the watch fill up. So this is a new tornado watch for Northeast Illinois, Northwest Indiana, Southern Wisconsin, and for Lake Michigan. This goes until 10 p.m. Central Daylight Time. This is just a tornado watch. This is not a PDS. I want to reiterate, not a PDS tornado watch, just a tornado watch. Regardless, primary threats, a few tornadoes likely with a couple intense tornadoes possible. Scattered damaging wind gusts to 70 miles per hour likely, and scattered large hail events to 1.5 inches in diameter are possible. So we talked about that earlier on, where that mesoscale discussion was issued up there for tornado watch, and within half an hour generally it was issued, and they were saying 90 minutes. So the NWS Storm Prediction Center not messing around here this afternoon, as they are quickly issuing these with good reason. I mean, we're already seeing quite a bit of coverage here across a large chunk of the region, all the way from the Midwest into the Mississippi Valley, back down into the Ozarks. So that's what we're seeing here this afternoon. Everybody, thanks for logging on. If you don't already follow us on Twitter, make sure to do so at TDSWX, and we will continue to post some updates on there through the afternoon into the evening and tonight. What I want to reiterate with this is, if you're in these areas here, and I'm going to go back and show you, within these high to moderate risk areas, if you're in those, or even in the enhanced or slight, make sure to have a severe weather plan in place. Make sure that you're ready to execute that. Make sure you have a way to receive watches and warnings. Your best way is a weather radio or some kind of a weather app or something like that. You can always go to weather.gov and then go to your local National Weather Service and see what's currently going on. But obviously you want something that's going to deliver that warning to you as soon as it's issued, so you can take the proper precautions for yourself, these family, and whoever else is around you. So that's all I have for you here this afternoon. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. If you're in or around these areas that are under a watch, a warning, that are in these risk areas, stay safe out there, stay weather aware, and we'll talk to you next time. Your best way is a weather radio or some kind of a weather app or something like that. You can always go to weather.gov and then go to